Alright, so welcome everyone to this important lesson where we're going to talk about, in very short, the basic preview of our project and the scene file. As far as the file is concerned, I do have only one mesh over here that I've just modeled in the basic in the Maya and then taking it into the Mudbox for adding some little bit of the poses and the bending. The Mudbox posing tools are very powerful. I have to appreciate that. Alright, so moving forward, as you can see, I have created this mesh and I would like to create a disintegration effect on this mesh. This basically indicating that a man who is, almost on, the kneel down positions and it's just like that have lost all these hopes and is almost on his way to get dissolved or disintegrate. Alright, so that is the part of the story. Now, technically, when this mesh is concerned, this is like a polygon piece of a geometry, and I do have layout, some textures overhead by manually painting it up in the Mudbox, and then for that, obviously, we do also need to carry the proper UVs because without them, we just cannot able to accomplish that effect. So from that point of view, the UVs are really going to be very essential. And since we're going to utilize the mel scripts and expressions on our particles, so these also going to involve the UVs, and UVs are really accountable in that. Alright, so moving forward, if we have to talk about this mesh is basically a one and combined geometry, and there isn't any gap in the mouth, as you can see, especially because I wasn't have to create any animations in which his mouth seems to be open up or whatsoever way you can say. This is going to be the still body and he'll going to be like almost in a static pose. Now, as such, the file is concerned, we do have certain amount of the polygons you can see, but now I'm going to talk about a little bit about the project basically. So for that we have created these video, the final render I'd like to play for you, and here you can see that the disintegration effect has been taken in three ways. Well, to be very precise, if you can see carefully, I do have certain bigger pieces of the chunks. I would like to call this enclosed mesh as a chunk. Alright, just for my my comfort level. These primary chunks are to be called as a primary chunks because these are the bigger pieces of the particles. Followed by the secondary effect, as you can see, we do have certain more smaller pieces of the chunks which are adding more realism to our final shot. Moving further, we do have another thing that is called the dust. So if these three elements are getting combined and this mesh is getting into, like there is a very nice interesting scene you can see over here. The stretchiness inside these primary chunks are indicating a kind of a paperish kind of an effect. It isn't showing me any sign of the rigid body kind of a dynamics where slightly thicker or extruded pieces do fall upon and just it indicates something which is rigid or concrete kind of. This effect isn't indicating any rigidity inside the motion or the behavior. All we are trying to do is to create a kind of ash, paperish, or very you can say a sort of a flexible kind of a disintegration effect where the particles are just getting dissolved. Alright, so these effects are made up of three things. First is the nucleus cloth you can see, followed by the Maya Classic Advanced Particles, and then to add some greater level of touch-ups and the realism, the Maya Fluid Effects for the final dust. Alright, so that was the project overview. Now moving forward, you can see, first of all, I like to take care of the number of the polygon counts, edges of the vertex counts, because in this effect I'll have to create some few things manually, which isn't like that much very much appreciated, but after going through with that stage you won't going to regret that. Yeah, I do acknowledge that. Yeah, some tools are really missing inside the Maya, especially I'd like to call this as like shader tool, shader script, somewhat like that, that may could make our work less, intensive. But no problem, no worries. We do have a lot of good solutions and good techniques. You're going to really enjoy this stuff. So first of all, I'm going to go to the display, heads up display. I need to switch on the polygon count, and I need to take care of the faces, which is approximately 9,744, and the edges seems to be 19,488. All right. So starting with my very first thing inside this course, I would like to select all these edges and would like to go to the create and have to create the set, something called the quick selection set, and I can name that up, let's say basic underscore selection. All right, that's okay. I just missed the spelling of the basic. BASIC. All right, the basic selections. Okay, you're gonna get to know that why we are doing this, okay, in the upcoming lesson. So that is just a very basic preview to our scene file and to the project. So let me just go ahead into the next lesson, where I'm going to talk about more upon by how we can add more realism to our subject.